Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Seth. I'm the Director of Veteran Services here in the city of Newton, and today is Veterans Day. Welcome, one and all. We can please now, Kenny, close the back hatch. You can shut the doors, and we'll have our Newton Police and Fire Honor Guard post the colors.
Honor Guard, forward, march!
All rise, please. We will now introduce Mr. James Ye, our national anthem performer today, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by our scout troop to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pace! Honor Guard, present arms!
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Honor Guard, order, arms!
Good job. You can go down. You're good. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will be led by led by our troops with the Pledge of Allegiance. There's many of them here today. All right. Thank you very much. You may begin.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please remain standing for our opening benediction from our chaplain, Jack Stone.
Uncover. Father, please turn your gaze to the men and women who in their military service has sacrificed comfort, ambition, health, prosperity for the peace of the families of our friends and others. They will never ever know reward for the hundredfold for all their sacrifices in service, far beyond all the expectations. Reward them for all they have given. Amen.
You may be seated. Honor Guard, post.
Honor Guard.
Scout troops, you are released.
Honor Guard. Wait. Haste. Forward. March. Quiet. 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 Quiet.
Thank you very much to our Newton Police and Fire Honor Guard. They help us out in all of our endeavors, in all of our events, and they are stellar performers. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Seth By, the Director of Veteran Services. Today is Veterans Day. God bless each and every one of you, and thank you for coming out today. So let's begin with the formalities. To the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, a proclamation. Whereas since the Commonwealth's earliest days, thousands of men and women have served our country in defense of freedom and liberty. And whereas on November 11th, 1918, after 4 years of conflict, the armistice was signed in the forest of Compiègne by the Allied nations and Germany, ending World War I, the war to end all wars. And whereas since that day, every November, people from around the nation have gathered to honor our veterans. And whereas in November of 2024, the world will commemorate the 106th anniversary of the armistice that ended the fighting in World War I at 11 a.m. on November 11th, 1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And whereas there are approximately 300,000 veterans living in Massachusetts, and whereas in recognition of their sacrifices made by those who have served our great nation, Massachusetts remains committed to supporting its veterans community through the HERO Act, honoring, empowering, and recognizing our service members and veterans. And whereas today we are reminded of the great sacrifices and contributions of our veterans we have made in our country's namesake. And whereas we honor and salute those who have served our country throughout the generations with honor, patriotism, and courage. And whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts residents remember the bravery of those who have served their country so that their dedication and sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of freedom. Therefore, I, Maura T. Healy, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2024 to be Veterans Day, and urge all residents of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance, given at the Executive Chamber in Boston this 11th day of November in the year 2024 and the independence of the United States of America, 248th. Maura T. Healy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, thank you for the fact that we're all here together, safe and sound. We've got our veterans to my left and to my right, keynote speaker. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the commander of the post, Commander Donnie Gentile.
Okay, I took it out of line. Good morning, everyone. Oh, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I would like to welcome everyone to the American Legion Post 440. As commander, I am honored to host this event. I'm going to give you a brief history. After World War I, a day was set aside to honor our war dead. The day was called Armistice Day. After World War II, and as the Korean War was underway, the American Legion argued in favor of expanding the observance to include all who have served in the U.S. military. On October 8, 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed a proclamation changing the name to Veterans Day. The American Legion Auxiliary, and the Sons of the American Legion all work tirelessly to uphold the American Legion's mission statement. That statement is to ensure the well-being of America's veterans, their families, our military, and our community. We are here at Post 440 to assist any veteran that may need help. Please see any member of the American Legion that you see, any of the three families. Thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you, Commander. We'll now introduce our Mayor Ruthanne Fuller for her remarks on Veterans Day. Mayor.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
"106 years ago today, at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the fighting in World War I ended as the armistice was signed between the Allies and Germany. 106 years later, I am grateful to be here at the VFW Nonantum Post 440 with so many of you to mark that solemn moment when the guns fell silent, and to express my gratitude to the American Legion for hosting us. We gather to honor and to thank our veterans. Veterans that included 18-year-old Charles Evans Jenkins of Nonantum, who enlisted in the Army in early 1918 and fought in some of the war's most important battles. He returned home to Newton to continue to serve, this time in Newton's police department. On this Veterans Day, we gather to honor Charles Evans Jenkins and all those who have served through our country's history, and to thank all the Newtonians who are on active duty today. We honor our keynote speaker, Marine First Sergeant Jim Cote, as well as 5 additional honorees for their tireless service to our country and on behalf of the people who serve and have served. We celebrate Post 440 Commander Army veteran Donnie Gentile and the amazing Post's 50-year honorees. Just think of that, 50 years as part of this post. David Poirier, Carmen Kyra, and Michael Mosca. We honor our relatives who serve or served in the U.S. Army, the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Marine Corps, the U.S. Coast Guard, the U.S. Space Force, and the Massachusetts National Guard. And I can't help but think of my dad, Alan Schwartz, he of blessed memory, who served in the Navy in World War II. We honor today Americans by birth and by citizenship, Americans of all races and all backgrounds who throughout our history raised their right arm and took that oath to selflessly, honorably, and bravely defend our democracy, defend our freedom, and defend the Constitution of the United States. And as we celebrate the anniversary of the U.S. Marine Corps, founded 249 years ago, yesterday on November 10th, 1725, may I say to all of the few and the proud here with us this morning, happy anniversary. Where are you?
Right.
Yeah. I also want to honor one particular Marine, and he doesn't know this is coming. Newton's Veterans Affairs Officer, Marine Sergeant Seth By. As he approaches his 10th year working for our city and on behalf of our veterans. So over the last several months, VSO Seth By has been working to add the comprehensive provisions of Governor Healey's recently passed Massachusetts HERO Act into the additional services and benefits for Newton's veterans. But that is just one example of the work he has done for our veterans. Seth, come on up, stand one more time.
Sure.
We've got a commendation for you today.
Appreciate it.
So let me read this to you so that you know Seth a little bit better and can appreciate him even more. Seth By, at age 22, made the decision to enlist in the U.S. Marine Corps. In 1999, remember, a period prior to 9/11, Seth knew already that he wanted to make a difference. Enlisting changed his life, leading him on a path of continued service to country, to community, to veterans. As a young Marine, Seth spent the early part of his service at Camp Pendleton on the coast of Southern California, training with the Amphibious Raid Unit. He deployed to Iraq in 2004 as a platoon sergeant. During a patrol where Marines swept houses for enemy soldiers and weapons, Seth led a platoon that faced incoming fire. As they searched the home from floor to floor, a fellow Marine fell from the roof, landing on Seth. While both Marines survived, the fall broke Seth's back. The injury did not deter Seth from finishing his tour in Iraq and then completing 2 additional tours of duty in Southeast Asia. Lingering pain, however, is a constant reminder of that day. After being honorably discharged from the Marines in 2009, Seth began another career where he could give back to our country and our veterans. He became a veteran service officer, delivering essential services to veterans and their dependents, and honoring their service in observances such as this on Veterans Day. He served for over 6 years as the Veteran Services Officer in Seekonk before we were so fortunate that he came over to Newton as our VSO in May 2015. During the more than 16 years as a Veteran Service Officer, Seth has emerged as a leader in this field. He has served as the president of the Veteran Services Association of Massachusetts. He has helped shape policies and programs for veterans by serving as a member of Congressman Joe Kennedy's Veterans Council, and he continues to provide support to veterans who reach out to Congressman Jake Auchincloss. Recently, the Veterans of Foreign Wars #StillServing initiative recognized Seth and his service dog, Zelda. How many of you have had the chance to meet Zelda? Just wait if you haven't yet. For their work on behalf of veterans. And remarkably, he accomplished all of this while earning a degree in social work from Boston College. Whether running the Boston Marathon on behalf of veterans or taking a twirl on the dance floor to raise money for them right here at the Post 440's Dancing with the Stars contest, assisting veterans transitioning to civilian life or helping survivors of veterans who have passed, Seth By is always faithful and always there with a kind word, yep, a deep voice, and a big heart. Similarly, he gives his all as a father to his twin daughters and grandfather of one baby boy with a second on the way. So, in recognition of his exemplary service to the United States and the city of Newton, it is only fitting and proper that on behalf of the residents of Newton, I, Mayor Ruthanne Fuller, express our gratitude and pay tribute to Marine Sergeant and Newton Veteran Service Officer Seth By.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Heroes in our midst. So today, as we honor so many Newtonians who took with them the values and lessons learned here in our villages, and our colleagues in city government who served our country in the armed services and now serve our residents, may I ask all the other veterans here to stand if you are able, or to raise your hand. To each of you, we will always remember your sacrifice and your courage, and we will always honor your service. And I want to note that City Councilor and President Emeritus Lyle Baker was one of those who just stood. And I know I am speaking on behalf of all the elected officials here today and thanking all of you. I want to note that joining us today, we have State Representative-elect Amy Sangiolo, State Representative-elect Greg Schwartz. We have a whole bunch of city councilors with us, our president, Laredo, councilors Block, Mickley, Lucas, Oliver, Wright, Malachi, Getz, and Farrell. Did I miss anyone accidentally? I'm not seeing who I missed. Oh, Lobovitz, thank you, sorry. I knew I would forget someone. I also want to thank our fire chief who is here with us, Greg Schwartz. There is a Greg Schwartz, but he's in the back. That's Greg Gentile. Our police and fire honor guard who stand so proud, and a number of other people who make sure our veterans get the services they need. The president, Donna Forte Cottons, is here, the American Legion Auxiliary. Our commander of the Sons, David Schneider, is here, and all the Sons of the American Legion. I'm so grateful to all of you, because working with Seth, every day you are honoring our veterans and trying to extend our help to them. And a shout out to two businesses that I want all of you to consider going by and maybe just saying thank you, but maybe even buying something, as both Bill's Pizza and Sandwich Works helped us out today with some treats and beverages. So with that, let me close with President Abraham Lincoln's words on March 4th, 1861, at his first inaugural during an uncertain time in our country. We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies, President Lincoln said. Though passion may have strained, it must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic cords of memory, stretching from every battlefield and patriot grave, to every living heart and hearthstone all over this broad land, will yet swell the chorus of the Union when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our nature. Let us move forward today, guided by the better angels of our nature. Thank you all.
Thank you. You got me. Thank you again, Madam Mayor, and thank you to the City of Newton. I really enjoy this career field that I fell into. That was a joke, but that's how it happened, really. I'm not going to speak for our keynote speaker, but Jim and I are dear friends, and he understood when we were speaking. I planned to make a 20-year career out of the Marine Corps. Clearly, that didn't happen, but I didn't have to stop serving, and I fell into this career again, where I get to speak veteran every day, and I get to help a veteran every day. I get a haircut just like I used to. I don't have the same uniform anymore, but Jim's here, and that's the uniform I used to wear. So again, I just wanted to say personally, the mayor caught me off guard, and I really appreciate the accolades. I clearly didn't expect any of that, and it really means a lot to me, because I really do put my heart and my soul into the work that I do, because you're clearly helping another human being, and that's what we're all here to do. This is what these veteran-centric organizations, the American Legion, the Women's Auxiliary, the Sons, Jewish war veterans, that's what we do. We help one another. So that's enough about me, and I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that I got surprised, and I'm very grateful halfway through my career here that I'm getting recognized for the things that I do. I would do this job anyway. I just happen to get paid to do it. So that leads us to our keynote speaker. So without further ado, Jim Cote has been helping me every Veterans Day with either the past Mayor Seti Warren and or our current mayor present the citations to each of the veterans that we acknowledge each year. This year, Mayor Fuller and I got together and we said, we're going to acknowledge Jim Cote, because he has exemplified what it is to be a civil servant in so many different ways, through his time as a councilman and alderman, through his work through the Marine Corps. I just wanted to give a little shout out to him before you guys get to meet him, and he gives you his words that he's been doing basically what I've been doing in the background since I've been here for 10 years. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you retired First Sergeant James Cote.
Thank you, Seth. He's considerably taller than me, so I have to move this mic down. So as a Marine, I have to kind of joke a little bit. In 4 years, we're hoping Seth can bring his dance steps to the White House. So it's the Marine Corps ball there. Good morning, everybody. Mayor Fuller, guests. It's an honor to stand before you today as we gather to pay tribute to those who have bravely served our nation. I want to extend my sincere gratitude to all my fellow veterans in the audience, to your families, and to the organizations supporting our heroes, both past and present. Today, we're not just here to remember, we are here to act. We are here to reaffirm our commitment to the men and women who have donned the uniform of the armed forces. Each of you knows the price of freedom. You felt the weight of responsibility that comes with serving your country. You faced unimaginable challenges in training to always be ready, many on the battlefield, and later in the transition to civilian life. Today, we honor your sacrifices, your resilience, and your unwavering commitment to ensuring our values endure. As we gather here, we reflect on many stories of courage, of loss, and of triumph. Stories that remind us that the impact of military service doesn't just end when the uniform comes off. For many veterans, the battle for reintegration into civilian life can sometimes be as challenging as the battles fought overseas. In 2014, upon being elected to the Newton City Council, And in drawing on my experiences as a Marine Corps Casualty Assistance Officer, I moved to recognize on an annual basis the graduating seniors from the Newton school system and the private schools graduating Newton residents who were making the big commitment to serve in the armed forces. In the past, I had witnessed communities turn out for fallen Marines as they were returned home to an honorable funeral. My purpose as a city councilor was to provide community recognition to these young Americans, honoring them for their commitment to our security at a time when they would be able to appreciate the recognition. My goal was to send them off with the knowledge that the community was with them and was grateful for their service. I also wanted their families, oftentimes in Newton, the first time with a military experience, to know what an honorable goal that was for their child to serve their country. And there's such a great credit to their child to make that commitment at a young age. Today, I urge the Newton City Council to continue this recognition program for the greater good of the community. Sadly, Newton residents have and will return to the community as killed in action. And the community will come together to honor their service. There is not a timetable on recognition, as evidenced in 2023, when the remains of World War II Lieutenant Alfred Pizzella from the lake were located in Europe and returned to Newton, his home as he left for war in 1943. Mayor Ruthanne Fuller directed that our veterans agent, as we know, retired Marine Seth prepare the city for the welcoming honors that Lieutenant Pizzella deserved. Lieutenant Pizzella was provided with local honors and was then personally escorted to his burial site in the Bourne National Cemetery by Mayor Fuller, Seth, members of the Newton Fire Department, members of the Newton Police Department, and myself. Now, as we continue to navigate the complexities of the modern world, we find ourselves in a unique position to provide even more comprehensive support to our veterans. The challenges they face today are not just behind them, they are present, evolving, and very real. We must utilize our collective voices to advocate for policies that provide mental health services, job training opportunities, and community support for veterans. Moreover, we must engage our city. Newton should embrace its veterans, continuing programs that serve their needs. Our actions must reflect a commitment to standing with our veterans, not just during military service, but throughout their lives. Today's technology offers unprecedented opportunities for connection. We can leverage social media, podcasts, and virtual platforms for creative support, engaging communities that can interact, share experiences, and offer encouragement. As a child, many years ago, I listened to my Irish immigrant great uncles, Frank McKenna and Andy Walsh, who in the USA for only a short while, in 1917 went back to Europe as enlistees in the US Army to restore the peace during World War I. As the US Army does, in 1918 they returned home from Europe victorious and to a grateful nation. Except, at that time, the nation's politicians let them down. And in 1932, they actually had to march on Washington to obtain their promised World War I bonus. Finally, receiving their $400 or so bonus in 1936. Incredibly, they weren't angry. They were stating facts, as they were proud war veterans, grateful for the opportunity to serve, and now to be an American. As a nation, we cannot ever let this happen again to returning veterans. Imagine a future where every veteran returns home to a community that not only acknowledges their sacrifice, but actively supports their journey. Whether it's through mentorship, networking events, or legislative advocacy, we must ensure that no veteran feels they are fighting alone. We must foster compassion, education on acts of patriotism for the children to learn in our school system, and resilience in our community. Stand with them. Let us not wait for change to happen. Let us be the change that our veterans and military families need. Students at Day Middle School have enjoyed a robust history program with community involvement in veterans activities led by Mr. Tim Matthews, a longtime Marine veteran and Day Middle School teacher. I have witnessed a sense of community about the veteran's story that he presents to our students. In the past, Tim's students have assisted in the Civil War Veterans Memorial rededication. They visit the Newton City Hall Memorial Chambers. And when in the area, he's asked his students to attend the Spirit of America tour. I urge members of the school committee to follow Tim's lead and ensure that all of the Newton students receive this informative and valuable lesson program on community service recognition of those who have served. I know that your presence here today speaks volumes, and that commitment is what will drive us forward. Together, I ask that you ensure that every veteran feels valued, supported, and cherished. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your dedication, and thank you to our veterans for your service. Telling the veteran's story will strengthen our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Now, while I prepare the citations, and the mayor and I and First Sergeant Cote will present them to our recipients, we have another sidestep in the program where Commander Dave Snyder will be presenting a long overdue recognition award to our bestowed chaplain, Jack Stone. Commander?
Well, I'm going to take an opportunity to thank everybody for coming out today. Today, we're going to recognize Jack Stone. And I'll just get right to it. Here's Jack Stone. Give him a hand. In recognition of your tireless efforts around all things that support veterans and veteran causes, we thank you for all of your services. In addition, your early arrival and late departure at the monthly food bank and other events and operations has not gone unnoticed. We, the Sons of the American Legion, which everybody who's a son, please stand up. All the sons, please stand up, give a wave. And our immediate past commander, Paul Pascarosa. We have our not so immediate past commander, Nick Pascarosa. And they're all very important cogs in the big wheel. So I feel like I'm riding the coattail on all of that noble energy. So we acknowledge Jack Stone's efforts and present you with this Community Service Award. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Commander.
Thanks, Seth. Thank you, everybody.
We'll start this way. Okay. I still believe in ladies first. So, Mayor Fuller, yourself and First Sergeant Cote will be presenting to Elaine, who's right behind Tom Shoemaker.
We just need,
Yep, you need this.
do you have something
I
to
have,
read?
yep, I have that to read, of course. Thank you. Okay. Commendation, Elaine Maxwell Lacoste. For service to the veterans in American Legion Auxiliary Post 440. Elaine Maxwell Lacoste was born and raised in Chicopee, Mass. Elaine, along with her mother, established and signed the charter creating the American Legion in Aldenville Auxiliary Unit number 337. The post grew rapidly to hundreds of members. Elaine became the first junior president of the Post 337 Auxiliary. In 1957, Elaine married Staff Sergeant Adrian Slim Lacoste, a Korean War veteran. Slim also grew up in Chicopee. They raised their daughter April in Aldenville, and their family was active in the support of veterans. Elaine became the prisoner of war and missing in action District 3 chair. She sold t-shirts and sweatshirts out of their home and supported veterans who gathered over 1,000 signatures to have the U.S. Postal Service commemorate the first POW MIA stamp in 1970. After Elaine's husband, Adrian, passed in 1994, Elaine moved to Newton to be Nana. To her loving grandchildren, Elaine remained committed to the auxiliary in Post 337 prior to the dissolving of the charter in 2012. Committed to veterans, she joined the American Legion in Anthem Post 440, where they embraced her and they appreciate her. Elaine is engaged with all the auxiliary fundraisers, events, and programs and the community causes. She currently serves on the auxiliary e-board. She is known to say, basically, I show up in support and I do what I can. She is an extraordinarily generous, kind, and caring person with great wit and wonderful sense of humor. The Auxiliary Legionnaires are fortunate to have a committed friend in their midst. In recognition of her service to veterans, it is only fitting and proper that on behalf of all the residents of Newton, I, Mayor Ruthanne Fuller, express my gratitude and pay tribute to Elaine Maxwell Lacoste. Yes.
76 years of service.
Did everyone hear that? That's 76 years of service for Elaine. God bless her.
Bravo.
Commendation to Chief Thomas Muttart for service to America in the United States Coast Guard and the American Legion Post 440. Thomas Muttart was born in Brighton, Mass. And graduated from Watertown High School in 1986. He attended Northeastern University for a 2-year program in electronics until completion in 1998. Tom worked at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, working with massive magnets in their tech laboratory. During the production of these magnets, Tom learned extensive telecommunication skills that were developed in coordination with both NASA and tested at the United States Navy Groton submarine program. Tom enlisted in the U.S. Coast Guard in response to the Persian Gulf in 1991. He trained in Petaluma, California at the 8-week telecom technician school. His first duty station was in Miami, Florida, where he responded to the first all-hands-on-deck alarm aboard the 110-foot cutter in response to Hurricane Andrew in 1992. He later served out of New Bedford aboard the USS Tahoma during Hurricane Floyd in 1999. Tom was promoted to chief while serving at Joint Base Cape Cod, Massachusetts. As a chief, he managed the entire base telecommunications, which was vital to all search and rescue missions from Provincetown, Massachusetts to Point Judith, Rhode Island. Tom recently retired after serving 23 years of active duty and is active at the American Legion Post. In recognition of his service to the United States, it is only fitting and proper that I, on behalf of all the Newton residents, Mayor Ruthanne Fuller, express my gratitude and pay tribute to Thomas Muttart.
That's a keeper.
First start.
Good job, Mutt.
Commendation. Captain Brett Ferolito. Brett Ferolito was born and raised in Newton and attended Newton North High School, graduated in 2004. He enlisted in the United States Army Reserves in July of 2006, motivated by the 9/11 remembrance, and was assigned to the 325th Transportation Company. In the same year, Brett also began his studies in the criminal justice program at Northeastern. In 2011, Brett was accepted into Northeastern's ROTC program, commissioning as a U.S. Army officer. He was assigned as a platoon leader for the 747th Military Police Company, Massachusetts Army National Guard. During that time, Brett was activated on law enforcement missions, including the 2011 Springfield tornadoes, Hurricane Irene, and the Boston Marathon bombing. During his time in the Massachusetts Army National Guard, Brett also served in the role as Company Executive Officer, Rear Detachment Commander, and as a Planning and Training Officer for the 211th Military Police Battalion. Honorably serving his term, Brett resigned his commission in 2017 as a captain. Brett continued in law enforcement, serving in the Newton Police Department as an officer and later as the Newton Police Community Outreach Officer. Brett continues to serve the City of Newton as the Weights and Measures Inspector. In recognition of his service to the United States and to the City of Newton, it is only fitting and proper that on behalf of all the residents of Newton, I, Mayor Ruthanne Fuller, express my gratitude and pay tribute to Brett Ferolito. Commendation. Major Raymond Roberts, for his service to America in the United States Army and the Sons of the American Legion. Raymond Roberts grew up in the Upper Falls and attended school in Newton. After graduating Rivers Country Day, Raymond attended the University of Maine and graduated in 1963 with a bachelor's degree in business administration. Raymond went on to earn his Juris Doctorate at the University of Kentucky Law School, graduated in 1964. Returning to Newton after graduating from law school, Raymond was offered a job in the City of Newton Treasury Department, where he worked until he was scheduled for training at the Infantry Officer Basic Course at Fort Benning in Columbus, Georgia. He was commissioned as a second lieutenant for 4 years. Raymond was the first lieutenant when he was deployed into active duty in Vietnam, where he served until April 6th of 1972. Raymond returned home and was stationed in Fort Devens, Massachusetts from 1972 to 1977. He was assigned to the United States Army Security Agency Training Center and School as the judge advocate and military justice instructor, providing legal advice to commanders. While at Fort Devens, Raymond enrolled in the graduate tax program at Boston University Law School, attending evening classes and earning his master's in taxation when he graduated in 1974. Raymond was assigned as the Deputy Staff Judge Advocate at the Communication Electronics Command in Fort Monmouth, New Jersey from 1978 to 1981. During that time, Raymond's wife was expecting their third child, and he requested a compassionate reassignment back to Fort Devens in 1981 in time to welcome their precious newborn on April 1st in 1981. Raymond remained at Fort Devens and assigned to the Staff Judge Advocate Office as the claims officer until he was honorably discharged in 1984. In recognition of his service to the United States, it is only fitting and proper that on behalf of all the residents of Newton, I, Mayor Ruthanne Fuller, express my gratitude and pay tribute to Major Raymond Roberts. I'll invite both of you to come back up to the podium. And I will be presenting this with the mayor to First Sergeant Cote as I read it. James Cote is the third son of 5 brothers to join the armed forces. Jim enlisted in the United States Marines shortly after high school at the tail end of Vietnam War in February of 1975, and later shipped to boot camp on St. Patrick's Day. After attending the Ground Combat Aviation Logistics Support School, he was assigned to the 1st Marine Air Wing. While serving at Camp Pendleton, Jim was meritoriously promoted to Private First Class to support the Overseas Deployment Movement Operations Center. Jim's next duty assignment sent him to Okinawa, Japan, where he was attached to the Marine Observation Squadron VMO-6, the Tomcats. His duties included supporting all logistics embarkation to Korea and the demobilization from Vietnam and Thailand. Jim was promoted to corporal while he was at VMO-6 Futenma, Japan, while maintaining and executing observation and reconnaissance missions in the Asia-Pacific region. Jim then received orders to the 2nd Marine Air Wing, Camp Lejeune, where he was attached to the Command Adjutant Staff under the command of the legendary United States Marine Commandant General Wilson, a 4-star general and World War II Medal of Honor recipient. Jim chose to re-enlist in the Marines and received orders to Quantico, Virginia. While in Quantico, Jim served on the staff for the Marines Education Development Command Program and was promoted to sergeant. After 12 years of active duty service, Jim transferred to the Marine Reserves and took assignment to the Headquarters Company 125 based in Massachusetts. Jim served as the casualty assistance officer that first responded to the 9 Marines native to Massachusetts that were lost at the bombing in Beirut in Lebanon in 1983. Jim retired from the Marines after 20 years of faithful service to his country and to the United States Marines. In recognition of his service to the United States, it is only fitting and proper that on behalf of all the residents of Newton, I, Mayor Ruthanne Fuller, express my gratitude and pay tribute to First Sergeant James Cote. And we have one more citation, and this veteran was not able to make it today. And as the mayor and I were talking, we're trying to make lemonade out of lemons. So we're going to invite past Commander Gary DeMoulin up to receive this citation in lieu of Captain Charlotte Levine, who could not make it here today. I will read the citation, and then I will allow past Commander Gary DeMoulin to explain the scenario. Service to America in the United States Army and the Jewish American War Veterans Post 211. Charlotte Levine graduated from Newton South High School in 2013. She attended Cornell University and graduated as the ranking in the number 3 cadet from over 505 ROTC cadets nationwide. As a trailblazer, Charlotte was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army, serving as one of the nation's first female armor officers. Following graduation from the Air Assault Course, the Armor Basic Officer Leadership Course, the Army Reconnaissance Course, and the Pathfinder School, Charlotte was assigned to the 1st Battalion 66th Armored Regiment, 3rd Brigade Combat Team, and 4th Infantry Division. Charlotte served as a tank platoon leader, battalion scout platoon leader, and a tank company executive officer. Then deploying to the Middle East in support of Operation Spartan Shield, Charlotte went on to serve in the Tank Corps as the first female ground combat officer in the 4th Infantry Division, where she was later promoted to captain. During Charlotte's accomplished military career, she commendably earned several awards, including the Army Commendation Medal, the Army Achievement Medal with 2 Oak Clusters, the National Defense Medal, Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, the Armed Forces Service Medal, the Army Service Ribbon, and the Overseas Ribbon, and the Pathfinder Badge. Charlotte received an honorable discharge from the United States Army in May of 2022. Charlotte earned her master's in business and in business administration from the Harvard Business School. She currently works as the director of strategy for the New York, New Jersey Gotham Football Club as a lead professional women's soccer team. Charlotte also supports veterans organizations, volunteering her time to advocate for the increasing number of female veterans represented in top-ranked graduate programs. In recognition of her service to the United States, it is only fitting and proper that on behalf of all the residents of Newton, Mayor Fuller expresses her gratitude and pays tribute to Captain Charlotte Levine. I will now, thank you. I will now turn the microphone over to past Commander Gary DeMoulin.
You can see why we're very proud of Charlotte. I'm Gary DeMoulin, Jewish War Veterans, and also 1965 graduate of Newton High School. That was 3 high schools ago. Go Tigers. Anyway, Charlotte couldn't be here today. She really sends her regrets in missing the ceremony, as Seth mentioned, and congratulations, Seth, on your honor. She's Director of Strategy for the Gotham. That's the New York, New Jersey women's professional soccer team. They were in Utah yesterday playing a quarterfinal championship playoff game, and they won that game 2-1. So they're still out there because now they have to play in the semifinals. So she really wanted to be here, and being a veteran. Her dad, a Newton orthopedic surgeon, was retired as a major, as a doctor in the 10th Special Forces Group. So their family has a long military heritage. So again, I am honored to accept the citation on her behalf, and hopefully I'd love her to get to meet Seth and the mayor when she gets back in town. Thank you very much.
We'll let you hold on to this for now. All right, I will now prompt our bugler, Alan Mannarino, to take his post. Ladies and gentlemen, I will ask you, if you can, to please stand for the playing of taps. Alan, take us away. To all present, order, arms. Order, arms. You may take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony for the year. I do have some closing announcements. A huge shout out to
We want to give him a 50-year award.
you're going to present that?
Do you have it?
No, I do not have it.
It's on the podium, okay? I'm getting a signal from the boss.
Down here for David. There we go.
50 years.
Did you want to come up, David? Earlier, the commander had mentioned, and so did the mayor, that we had 50-year honorees, and David Poirier is one of them here today.
On the other side.
He's coming up. Yes. This is in recognition and sincere appreciation of 50 years of continuous membership and support of Post 440. Signed November 11th from Donnie Gentile, the commander of Post 440. Yes, by all means. I'll now take this time to give a huge shout out to Pam McVeigh and the students at Burr Elementary School who created those thank you cards that the scouts were passing out earlier today. So a round of applause for the Burr Elementary. And as always, it never goes without saying we are both grateful and proud of our Newton Police and Fire Honor Guard. We always appreciate having our scout troops come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and helping out with the donation drive. It was a sincere pleasure to have Mr. James Ye belt out the national anthem for us today. And I believe we're making an announcement for Honor Flight. Helen Caudell.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. We just wanted to say that in support of veterans, there's not a lot you can do for somebody who's done so much for you. So one of the things that the Auxiliary Unit 440 here at the post, along with the Legionnaires and the Sons, have tried to sign up veterans to go to what they call Honor Flight. And it's a way of saying thank you by giving them a flight to Washington, D.C. to visit the memorials and their national cemetery. And it doesn't cost anything for the veterans, and it's a wonderful day. And we've had our first three were Joe Mitchell, Marty Simmons, and Tom Shoemaker. And I want to tell you that the feedback that we got from them was just wonderful. So if you know a veteran, specifically World War II, Korean, please tell them to sign up, get them to sign up. It's Honor Flight New England, and it's a day that, it's an appreciative day to them from us and from their country. Thank you.
And again, that will conclude today's ceremony. Please go forth with gratitude in your heart, a smile on your face, and thank the veterans in your family and in the community. God bless America.